Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, I want you to look around you right now. Just take in the room, the objects, the sounds. It all feels undeniably real, doesn't it? I mean, it literally feels like your eyes are cameras and your ears are microphones, just passively recording the hard, objective truth of the world. But what if I told you that is a complete illusion? What if the reality you navigate every single day is actually something your brain is actively, meticulously constructing behind the scenes?
Okay, let's dive into this. Because to truly grasp why we feel daily anxiety, why we get trapped in these endless negative loops, or even why two people can walk away from the exact same event with totally different memories, we have to answer a profound, foundational question first. Do we experience the world exactly as it is, or do we experience it only as our minds are capable of understanding it?
To answer that, let's quickly look at our roadmap. This explainer is basically going to act as a cognitive map to deconstruct how our minds build reality. We'll explore the illusion of reality, the 4 tools of cognition, the 3 layers of thought, how beliefs are formed, and finally, how to rewire your mind.
So, let's start with Section 1, the illusion of reality.
We go through life almost always mistaking our rapid mental interpretations for undeniable facts. Think about the last time you sent a text message to a friend and hours go by with no reply, right? That is the raw, neutral reality, no reply. But man, our interpretations just go wild. One person's brain immediately jumps to, they definitely hate me and we are no longer friends, triggering this massive wave of severe anxiety over absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, another person looks at the exact same blank screen and thinks, oh, they must be super busy at work today, and they remain completely calm. Same reality, completely different emotional universes. And this brilliantly illustrates how a single neutral event can spawn totally different realities.
Which brings us to the core thesis of our entire explainer. We don't experience the world as it is. We experience the world as we understand it. Cognition is not a passive camera recording a documentary. It's an active, meaning-making machine. It is writing a movie script in real time, constantly interpreting everything around us.
Moving on to Section 2, the 4 tools of cognition. How exactly does the mind build this meaning from the ground up?
Looking at the source material, the mind relies on 4 primary tools to construct this reality. First up, our senses. Now, we assume they give us the whole picture, but they're actually incredibly incomplete data gatherers. It's kind of like looking at a glass of water. You aren't capturing all of its reality, you're just taking in scattered puzzle pieces of light and reflection. Our senses just give us raw, flawed fractions of data. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the second tool, memory. And this is truly counterintuitive. We love to think of our memory as a video camera, perfectly storing the past in some mental hard drive. But science shows it's actually an active reconstruction, heavily influenced by your current emotional state and beliefs. Think about that for a second. We literally alter past events in our minds to fit the narrative we believe about ourselves today.
The third tool is language. We usually think of language just as a way to chat with other people, right? But in cognitive psychology, language is your primary tool for thinking. The words you use internally literally construct your mental frameworks. Your internal vocabulary dictates what you actually believe you are capable of achieving.
Just look at the immense power of those language labels. On one hand, saying, I made a mistake, describes a correctable behavior. It's just something you did. But shift that phrasing slightly to, I am a mistake, and suddenly you aren't describing an event anymore. You've constructed a permanent, destructive identity. Language actively shapes your psychological reality. And the fourth tool, beliefs, well, that's the ultimate filter. But to understand that, we need to go a bit deeper.
Let's move to Section 3, the 3 layers of thought. It's time to look deep inside the actual architecture of your mind. To visualize this, the source material uses a really brilliant metaphor, the walnut model. Basically, human cognition isn't just one solid piece. It's like a giant puzzle. We have to peel back the layers to actually find the heavy, dense center of your identity.
So here is how it breaks down. Layer 1 is the outer green skin of the walnut, your automatic thoughts. These are fast, reactive, and honestly often negative, like that sudden reflex thought when someone cuts you off in traffic. Layer 2 is the hard wooden shell underneath, your intermediate beliefs. These are your mind's hidden if-then rules. And finally, Layer 3, the meat of the walnut, your core beliefs. These are the absolute, unquestioned truths you hold about yourself, others, and the world.
Let's move to our earlier text message scenario and see how this builds. The text goes unanswered. Layer 1, the automatic thought flashes instantly. They are mad at me. But why did your brain generate that specific thought? Well, because of Layer 2's hidden rule. If I am ignored, then I am worthless. And where did that rigid rule come from?
Right from the deepest layer, the core belief, I am unlovable. See, a simple missing text just triggered an absolute deepest insecurity.
Which brings us to section 4, how beliefs are formed. Because we really need to ask, where do these heavy, often painful core beliefs actually come from if we aren't born with them?
Well, core beliefs are forged over time. Early childhood conditions, like say receiving conditional love, where you were only ever praised for getting perfect grades, wire your brain early on to believe your worth is tied solely to your performance. We also passively absorb the unspoken fears of our family and environment. I mean, if your parents constantly acted like the world was dangerous, you absorb that as a core truth before you even have a say in the matter. Add in repetition and those powerful language labels we discussed earlier, and the cement of your core beliefs really begins to dry.
It's a continuous cycle. You have an experience, your mind makes an interpretation. Through repetition, that interpretation hardens, and eventually it becomes a belief. And here is the real kicker. A repeated subjective interpretation eventually disguises itself in your mind as an unbreakable law of reality. You completely stop seeing it as a thought, and you start seeing it as an absolute fact.
Now for the most important part. Section 5, rewiring your mind. How do we change the software and break the cycle?
If beliefs are constructed, then they can be fundamentally changed. This is absolutely crucial. Because your core beliefs are just the result of a historical process of interpretation, they are not permanent hardware. They're software, and software can be rewritten. But true, lasting change only happens down at this deep structural level, not just by trying to fight off your surface emotions.
So the crucial point is knowing exactly how to access that software. And the source material gives us some incredibly practical homework for this. Step 1. When an automatic negative thought pops up, accept it without judgment. Don't fight it in your head. Step 2, and this is a real game changer. Physically write the thought down in a small notebook. Moving a thought from your mind onto a piece of paper literally separates you from it. It stops being a reality and just becomes a data point. Step 3, observe the underlying patterns over time. By tracking those fast, green-skinned thoughts, you eventually crack open the shell to discover and heal the core belief underneath. Ultimately, everything we've uncovered today points to this single, staggering truth. Man does not live with reality, man lives with his cognitive system. Mastering your interpretation of the world is the only way to master your reality. You are not at the mercy of the world, you are at the mercy of your mental lenses. Change the lens and you literally change the world you live in.
Which leaves us with one final provocative question. Stop for a moment right now. Really listen to your own inner narrative. What are your automatic thoughts telling you today? Are they building a reality you actually want to live in? If not, remember, you have the power to grab a pen, write them down, and take the very first step toward rewriting the architecture of your mind. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.